Hello, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to show up tonight or today, depending on where you are in the world. I have clients all over the world, and I would love it if you could take the time to type in the chat box what your name is or just where you're from so I can say hello to you. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm have another computer here. I'm Valerie Green, love coach, and I help women inspire their men to deeper love, intimacy, passion, and commitment to meeting their deepest needs and desires. And in this webinar called Lasting Love, you are going to learn some of the key secrets that I've discovered over the years for you to inspire your man or any man that you're dating to deeper levels of commitment and deeper levels of connection. And so that you can really create the kind of relationship that you want, either with the men that you're with, if the passion has died, or if you're single and dating, how to really inspire a man that you are attracted to develop feelings for you, if that's meant to be, of course, which we'll talk about, and I'm happy to answer your questions at the end. And so by the end of this webinar, you'll really have specific tools that you can put into practice right now to be able to inspire your man to deeper levels of connection than you are experiencing now. And I am so excited to be here with you, and I'd love to share a few logistics with you before we really get started. So first of all, the webinar is going to take place obviously in video, and you'll see me right now. I'll be doing a slide presentation later. If the slides look blurry, it might mean that you're running other programs in the background. So go ahead and quit other programs in the background to make room for the webinar. And if the slides are blurry, they'll usually fix themselves at that point. And secondly, we'll be doing a valuable exercise. So I encourage you to have a pen and paper handy. And if you want to take a note on your computer, that's fine. It doesn't take a lot of extra bandwidth on your computer. And but just be prepared to really do a valuable exercise. And thirdly, at the end, we're going to be doing Q&A. And this is a really valuable time to bring up anything that's been frustrating you or confusing you in your relationship, because I really know how frustrating it can be to feel unsupported and not know how to get the traction that you want in your relationship. And so there's going to be 30 minutes of Q&A at the end of this webinar. And you're welcome to type your questions into the chat box on the side. And I might not get to questions until the end. So you really do want to stay till the end for 3 reasons. First of all, to participate in that Q&A. Second of all, because I'm going to be giving away a free copy of my online course, which is a 6-week, it includes audios and ebooks and exercises to be able to really do the necessary actions to inspire your man to start showing up and being more supportive and actually having those, deep romantic moments with you, and that where he can't wait to spend more time with you and move the relationship forward or reignite the passion. And so that 6-week online course, I'm going to be raffling off a copy of it for free at the end. So stay till the end if you want to participate in that raffle. And thirdly, I'm going to be giving away a key communication hack at the end of this webinar. And this is a really key mindset shift that I have made with countless women that is like a big aha that transforms conflict into intimacy. And I've just worked with so many women who have said, wow, that was a major shift. Now that I'm using this communication hack, I really know how to transform a conflict into a deeper conversation instead. And so I'll be giving away that at the end. So stay till the end if you would like to experience that knowledge. So you are in the right place if you are a single or married woman who is experiencing frustration in your love life, that it's not quite what you want it to be. If you're single, you might be attracting unavailable men that are unwilling to commit, or it's just feeling kind of superficial, or you feel like he's stringing you along, or you're not meeting men that you like, and the ones that you do like aren't attracted to you. And if you're married, the spark has fizzled, and it seems like, he'd rather watch TV than spend time with you, or you're living like roommates instead of soulmates. And you really long for the early days where he was attentive and affectionate and would do anything for you. So if you're experiencing any of these things, I want you to know that you're in the right place. And in this webinar, we're going to learn some basic tools to be able to transform those dynamics. And the good news is that you're normal. Millions and millions of women experience these issues. And because where are we going to learn the tools to create lasting love? We didn't learn it in school, and maybe our parents weren't very good role models for how to keep love alive for a lifetime. So where are we going to learn? So that's where me and this webinar comes in. So before we get started, I want to share a little bit more about me and my journey and why I'm so excited to help you to explore lasting love and create lasting love for yourself. So I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, and back then I was taught by my culture that men and women are the same. And so I treated men pretty much the same way that I treated my girlfriends when I started dating. I guess I should say boys at that point, when I was a teenager and in my early 20s. And I would really value equal partnership, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I didn't understand what men needed. So I was scared of being controlled. I'd felt controlled as a kid. So I picked men that were generally easygoing, and they didn't mind me making the plans and making the rules and generally managing the household. But what I noticed was that I would feel overburdened, and then I would start demanding things because I didn't realize how to communicate, in a way that was inspiring. I'd start telling him what to do, and it would seem like he'd be resistant and dig his heels in. And then I would get more demanding and he would withdraw. And we got caught in this dynamic where it felt like I was being unsupported and he was just being mean. Of course, that's how I saw it. And I would just wonder why I got caught in the same pattern over and over again in my 20s, where things would start out great, but then we would get pulled apart by this dynamic. And that really started me on a transformational journey on how to have a truly connected and fulfilling relationship, which took me years of practice in my own relationships, as well as starting to do coaching training about 13 years ago. And I really applied those tools in the trenches, both with my coaching clients and in my relationships. And the biggest shift happened for me several years ago, where despite all the work I'd done, I fell into the same pattern again, where we were fighting and feeling distant. And I knew that I had to really walk my talk at that point. So I really studied with the world's top relationship experts and really walked my talk. And I learned how to completely abandon telling him what to do, but instead share my feelings in an inspiring way, and to really speak from my heart instead of sharing what was on my mind, which is what I'll be talking about later. To listen to my body and her wisdom, and to turn my attention to my desires and what made me feel good, and how to express those desires in an inspiring way and really hear what it was that he wanted from me. And once I learned what men need to be able to give him what he needed, and it really seemed like magic, within a matter of weeks, he really started being so much more supportive, and we worked out how to, solve our issues and be more connected again and start having fun again. And the romance came back, and our sex life came back. And so when I used these tools, I developed a system because I realized I kept teaching the same things again and again to my clients. So I developed a step-by-step program in order to be able to inspire the women that I was working with to inspire their husbands and boyfriends to be more supportive and to give them what they needed, and to work out win-win solutions and to rekindle the intimacy. And my clients started having breakthroughs using my system. So I knew I had to get this system out to more people, which is why I started doing these webinars a couple of years ago. And this really isn't just my story. So many of my clients tell me that their husbands or boyfriends start sending them sweet texts saying, I miss you, and wanting to plan more romantic dates again. And they tell me, wow, is this the same guy I married? I haven't seen him like this for years. And so I really encourage you to stay on this webinar and don't take my word for it. Practice some of these tools in your relationship and see what happens. So, okay, I will now start the slide presentation, and you are welcome to type in questions or introduce yourself in the chat box if you want. Discover in this webinar. So, how to recognize when your relationship is in trouble and how to reignite the intimacy and passion. The two deadly mistakes that most women make that pushes your man farther away. Why he's not that into you and how to mesmerize any man by tapping into the power of your unique and feminine energy. The exact words to say to show your feelings in a way that draws him closer and inspires him to meet your deepest needs and desires. And that's even if he's been resistant in the past. And why he's not committing, and the most important mindset shift that motivates men to commit to love that lasts a lifetime and stay till the end for both Q&A and for the communication hack to transform conflict into intimacy. Okay, are you ready? So let's look at how to recognize when your relationship is in trouble. So here's what it looks like when your relationship is disconnected. So if you're in a relationship, this is how you know your relationship is headed for trouble. And if you're single, then this might seem familiar in your previous relationships. So number one is that the romance has tanked. So whether you're just dating or have been married for years, gone are the days where he brings you flowers or plans special time together, or calls or texts you just to say, I miss you. And sure, you can begrudgingly tell a man what you expect from him, but isn't there a big difference between that and his just wanting to do it all on his own because he loves you and he's excited about you that much? So now when you do spend time together, it feels like his mind is somewhere else. You don't feel that spark of attraction anymore. When he touches you, it doesn't feel warm and passionate anymore. It feels like he's guarding his heart. And if you are having sex, it feels disconnected. You miss when he used to look deeply into your eyes. And now there's a coldness in the way he looks at you, and there's an awkward tension in the air. So I know I've experienced these things in the past. How about you? This is how most of my clients speak about their relationships when I first speak to them. So this happens to many, many women. And it's not your fault. It's not his fault either, though I'm not excusing his behavior. These are just particular skills there are particular skills that inspire a man, and that's what we'll talk about later. So the second key that your relationship is in trouble is that he's always busy. So if you're married, he seems more interested in work or TV or going to sleep than spending time with you. I know, that sucks. If you're dating, you feel that he's dragging you along and you're not sure where the relationship is headed. Or if you're single, you keep attracting men who passionately pursue you in the beginning and then disappear. Now, what's up with that, right? You deserve someone who sees how great you are long term. So trust me, if you're here, I know you're great. Do you know why? Because you're someone who cares. You're committed to showing up, to making things work, to being the best partner and person that you can be. And once you tap into your feminine magnetism, your guy is going to recognize that. And if he doesn't, then you'll feel confident enough to move on. And number 3 is that you feel anxious, lonely, and insecure. Because nothing you do seems to please him anymore. Or if you're dating, he seems like he's not that into you, so you start to doubt yourself. You feel less attractive, and you worry that there's something wrong with you, that maybe there's another woman, or that you'll say or do the wrong thing and he'll leave. Maybe you feel overwhelmed by your crazy emotions like fear, anger, jealousy, sadness, loneliness, and even despair, which can lead to a really vicious cycle where the more he withdraws, the angrier you get. And who could blame you at this point, right? And when you tell him how you feel, the more distant he gets, and you get angrier, and your relationship spirals where? Down. I know that certainly happened to me in my 20s. Or else he dismisses your feelings, and you've been stuffing your feelings so deep down inside of you that you aren't even sure what you feel anymore. And I know this sounds very tough. I promise I'm going to bring you up soon enough. We just need to get clear here on what's going on first. So I'd like you to ask yourself, which of these three have resonated for you? Has the romance fizzled? Is he always busy? Are you feeling emotionally overloaded? Or maybe a combination of those things? So just take a moment and consider which one or ones resonate with you. And don't worry, there is hope. I hear from women I work with all the time that this dynamic shifts within a matter of weeks when they implement the tools in my system. For example, I worked with a client, Thea, who was caught in a dynamic with her husband where she felt undesired, unappreciated, and criticized by her husband. She would get defensive, and they would frequently argue or be distant. After learning the tool that I'll teach you shortly for sharing her feelings and desires in an inspiring way, and really implementing other emotional healing tools that I'll mention later, she said, "I'm so grateful my relationship with my husband is feeling better and better. Recently, he took me on a wonderful date to a delicious restaurant, and he flirted, and we enjoyed playful intimacy that we both felt so much in our bodies and connected and fun. And he made breakfast for me yesterday and watched our daughter while I went to the movies with a girlfriend. And he made a wonderful dinner I enjoyed when I came home. We enjoy such a better quality of life now." When she compared how he shows up now to how it was just a short while ago, she said, "Funny, when I get a really nice text from him, I don't recognize it as him. It's like, I wonder, who wrote this? I don't know that man." So that's how a relationship can turn itself around using the tools that I'm going to share with you tonight. But before I do, I want to help you to really get what doesn't work. Because most women feel so frustrated when their relationship is disconnected that unknowingly we make it worse. So I want to make sure that you avoid the two mistakes that women make that can push him farther away. And if you're single, you'll get insights about what hasn't worked in the past. And these behaviors feel so natural to us. They're exactly the behaviors that push him away more. And these are the behaviors that I used to do that would sabotage my man's romantic feelings. And I see women doing these things all the time. So here's what they are, so you can stop doing them right away. And then I'll share with you what to do instead to reignite his romantic feelings for you. So mistake number one is sweeping it under the carpet, pretending it's okay, or giving more. Of course, you want to be understanding of his need for space and that he's busy or stressed about work. You just want to act fun and nice, so he'll want to be with you. It's just that when you're too understanding, when he's not meeting your needs, he'll actually experience you as being insecure. He can sense that you're not satisfied and wonders why you're just going along with it. This occurs to him as that you're hiding something, and he won't feel comfortable being around you. So, for example, if he doesn't call, you may call him because you understand how busy he is. Or when he doesn't pick up after himself, you just do everything for him. You might cook his favorite meal for him or make plans for him because you want to be a good wife or girlfriend and assume that then he'll give back to you in return. Only it doesn't work that way, because when men receive too much nurturing from a woman, it reminds him of this lady, his mom. And that's just not sexy. I know all you're trying to do is be nice, but that actually doesn't inspire him and he just feels mothered. Most men actually want to make you happy, but since he senses that you're not happy and he doesn't know what he can successfully do to make you happy, then he'll focus his energy on what he can be successful at, like work or rooting for the winning sports team or his hobbies, and not pay more attention to you. And that's because, did you know of what the science shows about men? Testosterone wires men's brains to seek the experience of success more than anything else. Testosterone is just the hormone that makes men want to fight and compete and win and accomplish goals. And of course, women have testosterone too, but we have far, far, far less. So it's a deep need within him that makes him a man to accomplish things and be successful. And of course, it's a deep need for us women too. It's just that to most men, feeling successful is their top priority. And even if it seems like it's not, he is being successful at whatever game he's playing, even if it's just, how do I have the most fun or relax the most, right? But, that's something that I help women to understand. So that's not a conflict that he wants to be successful. The conflict is when he doesn't see how he can make you happy, or, and here's a big one, if he feels disrespected by how you ask, then he can't do it because he feels disrespected. And I'll go over that in a minute. But if he sees that he doesn't know how to make you happy, he'll look to feel successful elsewhere. So, of course, you might be saying, but he does know how to make me happy. I've told him how. He just doesn't listen. And in that case, you're probably making the second mistake when you communicate your desires, which we'll talk about in a minute. So this is not to make you wrong. It's just to show you what doesn't work and why. And remember, it's not your fault that you haven't learned the skills yet to inspire him. What he needs is to feel your authentic feelings and desires so that he'll be inspired to step up and meet them. But most women make the second mistake when they try to tell a man what they need, which just pushes him away more. So mistake number 2 is making him wrong in the way that you ask for what you need, or being too direct by telling him exactly what you want him to do. So I know it's confusing. Let me tell you why this doesn't work. So you want more affection, you want more compliments, you want him to open up to you, you want him to be more romantic or call more. So when you try to tell him, hey, I want more affection, or I want you to call more, both of you feel disrespected. You felt unsatisfied to begin with because you have to ask for something like a compliment. And he feels either not good enough or disrespected because you're not satisfied with what he was doing. So remember that I said that men want to feel successful in making the woman they're with happy. So why isn't he stepping up and making you happy? $1 million question, right? You're probably expressing your feelings and desires in a way where he feels made wrong, and this causes him to feel criticized and disrespected, and then he can't do the thing you're asking for because of the way you asked. So I'm going to give you a crash course in figuring out how a man operates better than most men even know themselves. From the time that they're born, the hormonal and physiological differences in men cause most men to be sensitive to feeling inadequate, although they're probably not aware of this. So when a woman complains or tells a man what she's unhappy about, he's likely to hear, I'm failing. I'm not good enough as a partner. He doesn't realize that he's feeling inadequate. He just feels disrespected. So he feels pushed away and he'll put his energy elsewhere, like work, where he receives respect. He doesn't know what he's feeling, so it won't help you if you point it out or ask him what he's feeling. But since now you know, you'll learn to ask him in a way that avoids making him wrong. So the thing about men is that most men really do value being providers. That doesn't just mean that he wants to provide for his family financially. It gives men a huge amount of joy and pleasure to be the one providing for the people that he loves, especially his woman. If he takes you out to a movie, On an emotional level, he feels as if he'd written the movie script and starred in it. When you like the meal at the restaurant, he feels like he cooked that meal. And when you compliment the movie or the meal, he feels complimented. A woman's appreciation for what he provides lights up his life the same way that his consideration of your feelings lights up your life. So when you try to tell him what to do, it feels to him like this, even if you're just trying to be helpful. It feels to him like he's being criticized, like he's being told he's inadequate, and he feels disrespected. He might not even know why he feels distant, but he doesn't feel inspired to connect with you or want to make you happy. Because men need respect like a fish needs water. And that's also if we think we're being helpful. But he sees it as disrespect. Like if you try to tell him how to load the dishwasher or when to do the chores, he'll hear that as nagging and actually resist doing it because he feels mothered. It's like you're saying, I don't trust you to do it right, which is my way. And so he feels disrespected and smothered, like you're, crimping his style. And because it's really important for him to feel like he gets to do things his way. So you might be wondering, well, then how do I ask for what I want without disrespecting him? And we'll do an exercise around this in a few minutes. So for now, I'd like you to think for a moment, how do you tell him what you want? And what insights are you learning so far? Now, I want to let you know that you can turn this dynamic around very quickly. I've created a system that I call the Manifest Lasting Love system. And the system basically helps women to turn their relationships around in a matter of weeks and have men want to step up and want to meet your needs without nagging or telling him what to do. Because when you show up differently, he'll respond to you differently. We women have a lot of power over the emotional connection in our relationship. So let me tell you about Lucy, a client that I worked with. Lucy was complaining that she had to do all the work around the house, like cook and clean and take care of the kids on top of both her and her husband working. And it seemed her husband wouldn't participate unless she told him what to do. And even then, she had to remind him to do it. Sound familiar? She didn't believe me that if she stopped doing everything, that he would do anything. But I taught her how to relate to her emotions totally differently. To stop relating to him in a way that even implied that he was doing it wrong, which was enlightening. She didn't realize how much she was making him wrong, even if she didn't say anything to him, because body language is so important. So I taught her to feel her feelings and to feel her more vulnerable feelings, sadness and longing, and to start connecting for her needs for partnership and for support and for self-care. And to really come up with suggestions for what she wanted to do, what she wanted her husband to do to support her, but not be attached to exactly how he did it. Just really learn how to make requests in a way that didn't tell him exactly how to do things. But, she would say things like, I feel like I would love more support and I would love for you to do some of the chores. Here's a list of the ones that I would love for you to do. Which one do you want to do? And then when he picked it, then she would say, well, I don't want to nag you to ask you when it's going to get done. How do you want me to relate to you about it? How do you want me to remind you? And he said, well, actually, if you just came up to me and touched me gently and whispered in my ear, then I would be really turned on and motivated to do it. And it's like he came up with exactly how he wanted her to tell him. And yes, this might seem like mothering, but we have to remember that all of us have parts of us that are kind of stunted in our development. But once we're given what we need in order to develop, we grow up. So yeah, she did that at first, but then eventually he learned how to do it on his own, and she didn't need to keep nagging him because he wasn't resisting her nagging, because she was reminding him in a way that worked for him. So she was just shocked that once she learned how to express her feelings and desires in a way that really worked for him, that he started stepping up more and really listening to her and listening to what she needed. And, once he didn't feel wrong for how she asked her what she wanted. And they really had conversations about how they could delegate and take care of the work together. So it didn't happen overnight, but they really worked it out over a matter of months. And Lucy just followed all the steps in the Manifest Lasting Love system. So knowing those is really going to help you in your relationship too. So I will give you the steps of the system in a few minutes. But right now, I'm going to teach you a couple of tools that you can use right away to inspire men with your feminine magnetism. And so what's the key skill that you need to have in order to inspire men in the right way? Well, that is sharing your feelings in an inspiring way. So I'll lead you through that in the exercise. First, I want to explain why it's so important to share our feelings with men. So first of all, men, when they hang out with their guy friends, they don't sit around talking about feelings. And he probably can't share his feelings at work. So when a woman shares her feelings in the right way, he actually finds it mesmerizing and alluring. Feelings are one of the keys of feminine energy that entrances men and ignites his romantic desire and passion for you. And this is the way to communicate with him and receive more of what you want instead of pushing him away by criticizing and directing. It's actually learning how to share your feelings in a way that's speaking from your heart. A lot of us try to share our feelings, but we're actually sharing our thoughts and our opinions and not our feelings. So when you let him into the depth of your emotions in a way that doesn't make him wrong, but invites him deeper into your feminine openness and receptivity, he finds it easier to access his emotions. He goes from being in his head to being more in his heart because you're speaking from your heart and not just your mind. So when you're really able to speak your heart, he can finally feel safe to let his guard down and just be himself. And that's the prerequisite for him to even be able to consider what he's feeling for you. And of course, there's a difference between how you share your feelings in the beginning of a relationship and how you share with somebody that you've been married to for a few years, right? But feelings shared in an inspiring way always mesmerize a man. So for example, if you're on a first date and he asks you what you do, you can say, "Oh, I feel so good doing what I do. I spend the day helping people and that makes me feel really touched and I just love it and I just feel so fulfilled." So that's better than just saying, I enjoy what I do. I mean, yes, that's sharing a feeling, but you want to just mesmerize him by feeling your feelings and sharing your feelings. Positive ones first, because basically what happens when we share our positive feelings is that he feels finally like he's safe to feel his feelings, and it's like mesmerizing, like the sun and the moon and the stars. No joke. Try it. So if you're dating, he'll see that you're secure in yourself and he'll want to step up his game so another man doesn't claim you first, if he's the right man for you. And if he's not the right man for you, then this attitude of receptivity and self-assuredness in feeling and expressing your feelings can allow you to attract the right man for you. And if you're in a committed relationship, sharing your feelings in an inspiring way will fuel his passion for you, and he'll want to do more because he can feel what will make you happy. So now I'm going to lead you through a powerful exercise to share your feelings in a way that's feminine and magnetic and inspiring. So grab a pen and paper or open a note in your computer. So right now, I'd like you to think of the last time that you had a strong feeling that you wanted to express to your man and you either didn't express it or that you did express it and he didn't respond the way you wanted. It could be about something he did or didn't do, or it could be a time that you felt really frustrated about something else and you wanted him to listen to you and he blew you off. Just remember any time that you wanted to express your feelings. And if you're single, you can just invent a problem from your future relationship. Just kidding. Think of an example from your last relationship. So now I'd like you to take a moment and write down a sentence or two about what words you said to him or what words you wanted to say if you didn't say it out loud. We're going to break this down and see how you can say it in an inspiring way. If you didn't get the result you want, something is off, and I want to help you to get back on track. There's no problem sharing your feelings with your girlfriends, right? It's not that he's resistant to you. It's that he's hearing that he's doing something wrong, or he's upset at you about something else, or it's just not good timing. So now we'll talk about how to share your feelings using the 5-step process that I call the manifest lasting love conversation. So if you've read my e-guide, I introduced it there, but I'm going to go deeper now so you can apply this even more powerfully and experience amazing shifts in your relationship, whether you're just dating or whether you've been in a committed relationship for years. So I'll share an example of it first so you see the difference between sharing your feelings in an inspiring way instead of a critical way. So I'm going to exaggerate it for the sake of clarity. So this is the example that I use in the e-guide because it's a pretty universal one. So let's say that your man keeps texting other people while he's out on dates with you, and you feel angry because you think that's disrespectful. Makes sense. So here's 2 ways of sharing that. The first way is to share your judgments and to criticize him and to tell him what to do. So obviously I'm exaggerating it. So you might say, "Oh, you always text other people when you're out with me. That's so disrespectful. Can't you just put the phone away for an hour and spend time together?" So if you say it in that way and with that tone of voice, he's likely to feel controlled and defensive. And even if he puts the phone away, he'll be less inspired to connect with you. Or you can share your softer feelings and not make him wrong. Because underneath anger, there's always a softer feeling like sadness or longing or fear or shame. But if it depends on, you don't want to get too vulnerable on if you just started dating a guy. It's better to be vulnerable with somebody that you're committed to. But I would still share my softer feelings. So I might say, "Can I share something with you?" And when he says yes, "It feels so good to take away time from our busy lives and connect with each other. I miss when we used to go out to dinner and feel like we were the only 2 people in the room. It feels so good to feel your undivided attention on me. So as I sit here, I feel uncomfortable because I miss feeling you here with me. What's going on for you?" So notice how I talked about my feelings and my experience, not his actions or what he should do. If you say that or something similar with sincerity, he'll feel inspired to share himself and be more present with you. Of course, if he's angry at you for something, then he might share that too. So in my program, I have a flowchart for how to transform conflict into intimacy. But we'll start with the manifest lasting love conversation, which is a great place to start to inspire him with your feelings. So first of all, tone of voice is so key. Did you notice that when I was speaking the first time and the second time, I had a completely different tone of voice? So the tone of voice and your attitude will matter more than the words you say. I'm going to share that mindset shift communication hack at the end. That's more about your attitude. So keep your tone of voice gentle and kind. And that's really how you speak from your heart. So the way that you do that is you really get in touch with what your desire is and give yourself acceptance and compassion for your desire. So then you're speaking from your heart. You're not against anything. You're standing for what you desire. And so I'll give you more examples that share what that really means. So let's put this into practice now. So step number 1 of the manifest lasting love conversation is to share your positive feelings every day, no matter how small. Now, this is if you're talking to him every day, of course. But if not, then whenever you do talk to him, share your positive feelings first. And, if you are into personal growth, then you can see how this really maps on to focusing on the positive and focusing on what you want. That doesn't mean there's not room for your more challenging feelings, But if it's in the context of what it is that you do want, then it's not only going to make you happier, but it's also going to make him more likely to give you what you want. So, what can you appreciate your man for that you haven't yet? And that's what I'd like you to write down. If you're married, then is he a good financial provider? Is he a good father? Does he do little things for you? Does he make any plans for you or the family? And whether you're married or single, you can ask, how is he meeting your needs, even if it's in a small way? And if you're thinking about your previous relationship, what did he do that you didn't appreciate him for? So this isn't to make you feel bad. It's to learn new skills to start applying to whatever man is in your life now. Did you know that in order to keep love alive, we need to have 3 positive experiences for every negative experience in our relationship? So this is why expressing our positive feelings is so transformative. Even if we say, I feel so happy when you asked me how my day went, that goes a long way towards him being able to hear your challenging feelings without getting defensive. So just consider, do you have a 3-to-1 ratio of positive to negative experiences in your relationship? And if not, then how can you express more of your positive feelings when you have them? So I invite you to write down something that you can appreciate. And we will move on. So step number 2 is to ask if it's a good time to talk before you share something really challenging. The worst thing you can say is, we need to talk. Because as you'll see, having a positive intention for the conversation is more likely to make it go positive. So the best thing to say is, hey, I would really like to speak about something that'll help us to feel more connected. When's a good time? Because men are single focused and feel blindsided if you share your feelings without him being in the right space. Even if you do the other steps perfectly, if he's in the middle of something else, he'll still act dismissive. One of my teachers says, men's emotions are like women's sexuality. You can't be too direct too quickly. So you can't just start saying your emotions out of nowhere. Just like you wouldn't want him to grab your pussy out of nowhere, current political climate aside. Anyway, it helps to share a positive intention first to create the context. Something like, hey, babe, I really want to talk about something that's bothering me so we can work through it and feel more connected. When's a good time? So do you see how I'm actually sharing? I'm telling him there's something bothering me, but I'm sharing my intention to work through it so you feel more connected. So having your mind on what you want to get out of it really helps to lead him in a positive direction, and he can join you there. So I'd like you to take a moment to think of a time when you shared your feelings at a bad time for him. Maybe he was hunched in front of the computer or in front of the TV and blew you off. And just take a moment to imagine saying something to him like, hey, honey, it would feel good to talk about something important to me so we can work through it and feel more connected. When's a good time for you? And just notice in your imagination how that would be different. Just food for thought. So, step 3 is when you are having the conversation to take responsibility for your feelings and your desires without blaming him. So don't talk about his actions and don't tell him what to do or not to do. Try not to talk about him. Try to talk about your feelings and your desires. So instead of saying, you don't listen to me, instead you can say, I feel frustrated because I want us to both hear each other and I want to feel more connected to you. That draws him into the experience and it doesn't make him wrong. It's just sharing that you're frustrated. And what you want is for both of you to hear each other, not to talk over each other or whatever's going on now. So notice how when I say I'm frustrated because I want us to both hear each other and I want to feel more connected to you, you're just not you're not talking about him. I mean, yet you are talking about what you want for both of you, but you're not making him wrong. I'm not talking about something he's doing or not doing. So let's take that sentence or two that you wrote down earlier and make it really simple so we can speak only about your feelings and about your desires. So just for showing up on the call, you get a handout, which is a free cheat sheet of feelings and desires. These come from a system that I like to call compassionate communication. So what I'll do now is I will share a handout with you. I think what I'll do is actually post the link in the chat box because I've found that that tends to be easier than pulling up an offer. Sometimes people can't see it. So I posted the link in the chat box. You can just go ahead and look on the right-hand side and click on it. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, then I'll post it below the video. So go ahead and click on that handout and you'll notice that one side of the handout is your feelings. And so you'll notice that there's certain feelings that aren't on here. Like you don't say that you feel manipulated or that you feel attacked, because those are actually accusations. You're accusing him of manipulating you or attacking you. So the feelings on this list are just feelings like scared, sad, angry, confused, frustrated, hurt. So those are actually feelings, and feelings that are just about you and something that he can probably relate to. And on the second side of the handout are universal needs, things, emotional needs that we all have, and also desires. And you'll notice if you look at the second page of the handout that these needs and desires, here's the key here. There's many ways to meet. Each one of these needs or desires has many ways of meeting them. So let's look at the second page of the handout. Something like let's look at under attachment needs. That means the needs that we all have in romantic relationships. Let's look at appreciation. There's many ways to appreciate someone, right? You can tell them thank you for doing XYZ, or you can do something nice for them, or you can tell them how you felt when they did X, Y, and Z, that you felt really happy. That's a way of appreciating them. You can say it, you can write it, you can email it, you can text it. There's a million different ways to meet that need, right? Or something like connection, right? There's a million ways to meet a need for connection. We all have that need, but there's many different kinds of relationships and experiences that meet that need. So when you're telling him, that you have a feeling because you have one of these desires, and I'll share more examples, but any of these desires are not telling him what to do. You're telling him what you want to experience more of. And that gives him the opportunity to be curious about what it would look like for you and for him to find a way of giving it to you that works for him. So these are all about experiencing what I call intimacy. And intimacy, in my definition, is into me see. So, sorry, I forgot to mention that there's a little bit of a lag time. So now you should be able to all see the handout and look at it and look at those feelings and those desires. So if you can't, for some reason, see the handout, then I'd love it if you just typed into the chat box and I can try to troubleshoot that for you. So intimacy is into me see. And we want to invite him to see the depth and beauty of our inner experience, because this is a display of our unguarded femininity, which is mesmerizing to a man, as long as we make it about ourselves and not about him. Because most of the time we share our thoughts and not our feelings. So just take a look at the handout and look at the list of feelings. And I'll give you another example. Like, let's say I say something like, I feel sad because I miss you and I want to spend more time with you. That's owning your feelings and your desires, right? versus saying, you don't make enough time for me anymore. So notice how that's talking about my evaluation of what's enough time, and I'm saying what he isn't doing, so I'm making him wrong. So when I talk about my feelings and my desires, then he's likely to feel connected to me instead of feeling blamed. And then he's likely to be curious about, oh, you feel sad because you miss me and you want to spend more time with me? Well, okay, like let's figure out how we can make that happen. Or if he's mad at you, then there's something in the way and it's about getting curious about him. And like I said, in the beginning of a relationship, like you wouldn't say this on a first date, but there are ways to really share your feelings on a first date that is mesmerizing to him. So we can talk about that in the Q&A too. This is really not just for men, but for anyone that you're close to, how to really invite them into your experience rather than making them wrong. So just take a look at what you wrote down and we'll take a minute to word it in terms of just your feelings. I feel sad when, I feel angry when, and talk about your own experience and what's happening like the way a video camera would see it. So like a video camera wouldn't see that the place is a mess, right? That's an evaluation. But the video camera might see that there's clothes on the floor and dishes in the sink, for a simple example. So notice then how you're just saying what you're seeing and what you're feeling. And after that, take a look at what you desire. So instead of telling him what to do, you choose one of these desires and you start talking about perhaps what that might look like for you. Like you want more support. And what might that look for you like for you? Would you want more support in the housework? Would you want more support emotionally? Would you want more support in solving a problem that you have? Would you like more support? You know, you get the idea. And you can actually say, here's my desire. Now, you're not attached to him doing it exactly the way that you want. That's the key difference here. And remember, this is just step 3. We're going to get to step 4 in a minute. This is just expressing what you want. So I will assume that you have written something down by now. Laura says, I don't see the handout. Thank you, Laura. Did you try clicking on the link that is in the chat box? It's, there's only 2 chats in the chat box. There's what you wrote and there's what I wrote, and what I wrote has the link. So I will assume I'm going to just click on it on my other computer. This is why I have 2 computers open. And it does indeed load it in a new window. So let me know if you try that and if it works for you. If not, then just continue with the webinar for now. Oh, Laura says, I don't see the link. Can someone else, do you mind, would someone else be willing to type in the chat whether you see the handout or not? So, okay, I'm happy to resend the link. What I can do is I can also put an offer up, but I'm happy to resend the link. Okay, someone else said they got it, but I'm happy to repaste the link here. I repasted it. I can also put it up as an offer. So I'll do that now too. There's right now there is a link on the right-hand side. So you should see on the right-hand side a little offer that popped up. And great, you got it now. Okay, awesome. So yeah, if you are looking at the handout for the first time, then just take a look at the feelings and needs. I'm going to move on because I want to keep everyone on track and on time here. But just take a look at these and see that there's many examples of how you can meet one of these needs and desires, and not just one way, which is the key to men not feeling controlled. So step number 4, once you say, all right, here's how I'm feeling, this is what I desire, then you ask what he thinks about that. What's going on for him? And when he shares what's going on for him, really listen fully to him. So it's hard for most women to understand, but think about it. Where in his life does a man truly feel listened to? When a man hangs out with his buddies, they don't usually talk about their deep feelings and deep inner perspectives like women do. So he really needs the woman in his life to listen on a deep level and to help him see and understand himself more deeply. So when he's sharing what he thinks, you can look him deeply in the eyes and don't interrupt him. It's something that feels kind of awkward between men. But when a woman does it, it has an enchanting effect that can win a man's heart faster than you might think. So try it. And when he feels heard, you can say, I hear you. That doesn't mean that you have to agree, but he'll feel heard and respected and be more open to hearing your point of view that way. And you can collaborate on a solution, which I'll talk about a little bit in a bit. That'll be the mindset shift. So step number 5 is to appreciate what he did provide in this conversation. So whenever the conversation ends, if you really tell him what, getting to the point that you got to provided for you and appreciate him for it and let him know it feels good. For example, thanks for listening to me. I feel heard and more connected to you now. Or thanks for sharing your thoughts. Let's come up with a solution together. I really feel like we can do this as a team. So voicing these things will make him inspired to do more because he'll feel like maybe he can make you happy if there's things that you're already happy with. And remember to appreciate yourself too, because it's kind of like learning a new language, right? And it might seem like work to learn a new language, but the question is, what makes it feel worth it? So here's all the 5 steps. I will let you read them because I'm going to see what people are saying in the chat. Okay, Laura got it. Awesome. So step number 1 is to share your positive feelings every day. Step number 2 is to ask if it's a good time to talk. Then take responsibility for your feelings and desires without blaming him. And then ask him what he thinks. Listen and collaborate. And then step number 5 is to appreciate him for what it did provide for you to have the conversation. And like I said, I know it feels like a lot of work, but you don't have to do these 5 steps every time, right? Like if he's already available for a conversation, then there's no need to ask if it's a good time. But he will appreciate you telling him what you want to get out of the conversation. So here's like another little cheat sheet that you can kind of fill in the blanks. And I also share this in my e-guide. So it would feel good to talk about blank so we can work through it together and feel more connected. Is now a good time? And then when you're talking, to say, I feel a feeling word. And I would love to experience more of a desire. And then what do you think? And when he speaks, to say, I hear you, and how can we collaborate? And then thank you for. So I would love for you to just experiment and notice how your man responds when you express your feelings and desires in an intimacy way. And then ask him what he thinks. So you might be wondering, well, what if he doesn't want to give me what I want? And that's a great question because lots of relationship programs teach you how to ask for what you want, but they may not teach you what men need in order to want to give you what you want. Because what really inspires a man to want to move mountains in order to please you? Because men are actually really focused on what they want, right? Men will go to war, move across the world, and make huge sacrifices to get the things that they want in their life. If a man is really into you and really thinks you're the one, he'll pursue you like a lion hunting a gazelle. But most women aren't taught the natural feminine ways of being that inspire men to deeper love and intimacy and commitment. So we're led to think it's about being thinner or sexier or funnier or more successful in our own lives. But actually, that's only a small part of what makes a man want to commit to you for a lifetime. Because, no offense, but sexy, smart women are everywhere. He wants someone with whom he feels is the only woman for him. And we just haven't been taught how to inspire that forever feeling in a man. Men don't decide to commit to you because it's rational or it makes sense or they've been with you for a certain amount of time. It's a feeling in his gut that he's finally come home and that you're the only woman for him. And I've spent years studying and working with thousands of men and women in relationships and work with countless more women to inspire this feeling of devotion and captivation in men. I can teach you how to make sure he desires to claim you and stay devoted to your happiness more strongly than he desires freedom or space. There's specific things that men need on a daily basis to feel inspired and compelled to please you, if he's the right man for you. And yes, he needs these things even more than sex. And if you're dating, there's a specific mindset that you need to have to tune into both your needs and give him what he needs to know that he's the man for you. So next, I'll share with you the most important mindset shift that I teach in the Manifest Lasting Love system that helps you tune into what you both need to inspire the right man to a deeper commitment to your happiness. So if for some reason you're not able to stay on the webinar, I have an online course that really helps you to walk through collaborating and creating win-win solutions that help you to inspire the man that he's the one for you. And I have a 6-week course that I'll talk about later, and you could check it out at coachvaleriegreen.com/ignite. But I will raffle off a copy of that course at the end. So stay till the end if you want to enter the raffle. There's right now only 8 people here, so that's a 1 in 8 chance that you will get it. So what is this mindset shift that inspires him that you are really the one for him? And this mindset shift is really, I know it sounds simple, but I'll explain how this works in depth, is that a win-win mindset, which means you're really curious about him and what uniquely makes him happy on a deep level. And instead of just speaking about what you need, that you're actually curious about how to create a solution that's a win-win for both of you. Because when you tune into his needs as well as yours, and not just one or the other, then he sees you as integral to his purpose and success in life. And then he feels more powerful and capable with you than without you, to be who he wants to be in the world. And that's what makes him think that he can't live without you. This mindset shift is to always look at how to create a win-win with the man whenever you want something. So I call this, of course, having a win-win mindset. So if you share your feelings and he doesn't want to give you what you want, the key is to get curious about what he's wanting that he's not getting, and then to really hold the possibility of a win-win solution that meets both of your needs. So let me share a very simple example of this win-win mindset. Of course, it also works with more complex issues, but I'll give you a simple example. So if you're needing attention or affection, for example, and he's needing space, these needs seem to conflict on the surface, right? But there's always a way to collaborate to get both if you really get creative. So for example, I worked with a couple who both had day jobs, and when he got home, he needed space to unwind, and she needed to talk about her day. Otherwise, she felt disconnected from him. So on the surface, these two needs seem to conflict. But when they both opened up about how they wanted to receive love and listen to the other person, they created a solution that works for both of them. This is the essence of that win-win mindset. When we got deeper into what they both needed, one partner needs space and the other needs connection. Space and connection don't inherently conflict. There actually are many different solutions that they could have come up with. The one they came up with was that he has some time to unwind when he first comes home, and then they can connect about their day afterwards. So this type of solution, where both people get what they need to feel loved, is possible once you focus on what you both need, and not just what you need, and not just what he needs, but both. So when you are aware of your deeper needs, then you can let go of your attachment to a particular way of meeting them. And that's what gives you choice and freedom and allows you to stop telling him what to do and instead collaborate on a win-win solution to meet both your needs and his needs. And I want to just say that being a stand for these win-win solutions is not a tit for tat. It's not, I'll give you what you need if you give me what I need. That's conditional, because I've gotten that question before. It's actually holding the possibility that there's win-win or no deal that, this couple came up with, that they're both going to meet both of their needs. And it's not conditional. And if, he needs more space one day, she's not going to be upset that he couldn't, be there for her just one day. Like, it's not a keeping score. It's actually really feeling that you're both committed to meeting each other's needs. So first, of course, you have to be able to identify what your feelings and desires are and give yourself compassion so that you can share it with him with a soft tone of voice and, with an assumption that he wants to collaborate instead of, assuming that he doesn't. And if you do, have an issue with assuming that he doesn't, then we can talk about it, because that could be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So a lot of women, go up to men and ask him first, like, what's going on for him. And I find that it really helps to lead the way in terms of sharing our feelings and desires, because men aren't always in touch with their feelings and desires. So if you share yours first, then it can inspire him. He probably doesn't know what he needs, which is why he gets angry or defensive. So you have to learn how to be the detective and hold that win-win possibility for both of you. So does that seem challenging? Well, it's easier than you think when you learn the key differences between men and women and follow my proven system for how to listen to yourself and then him and create these win-win solutions easily. And this is the difference between being an attractive woman versus being irreplaceable. If you're just an attractive woman, he'll want to date you and have fun with you, and maybe that's it. But if he feels that you're the one woman who really understands his deepest feelings and can speak to those hidden parts of his heart, then his heart will feel peaceful and open. Like he's found what he's been looking for his entire life. Then he'll feel like in his heart, you become part of him. That's when every decision he makes takes you into account, because he feels like you're taking him into account. And suddenly that's what makes him want to know your thoughts and feelings. And trust me, the skills to learn how to do that are easier than you think. So is it okay if I share my full system with you to manifest lasting love? So I've created a step-by-step program that helps you to identify your man's biggest needs and your biggest needs, and how to fill yourself up with self-love and awaken and radiate magnetic feminine energy, and how to navigate any conversation so your man will feel compelled to listen to you and shower you with affection and attention and fulfill your deepest desires. So in the Manifest Lasting Love 6-week home study course, the modules are all online and on demand, and you can access them anytime you want, on your phone, on your tablet, or on your desktop, whenever it's convenient for you. I've combined the most effective tools and love hacks from mindfulness, somatic experiencing, meditation, nonviolent communication, NLP, and other emotional healing modalities, and distilled them into a simple formula that you can apply to reconnect to your divine feminine wisdom and magnetism. So you'll discover all the skills to navigate any state that your man shows up in. If he's in a bad mood, or whether you can't agree, if he hurts your feelings or doesn't keep agreements or doesn't listen, or if he tries to control you. So I'd like to tell you what you're going to learn in each week of the 6-week course. And then for those of you who want to get this going, I'll make it ridiculously easy for you to get started. So you can either keep viewing the slides, or you can follow the link at the bottom, which is coachvaleriegreen.com/ignite. And I will let you know what you will get in each of the 6 weeks. So in week 1, you upgrade your mindset to become a man magnet. This is when you really learn how to access your deepest needs and desires that are underneath your feelings and how to share them in a way that brings him closer rather than pushing him away. So we'll really put into practice what you learn in the handout and how to share those feelings and desires with him in a way that works for both of you. And you'll learn how to give your man the number one essential thing that he must have from you on a daily basis in order to feel attraction to your heart and being, not just your body. Because remember, there is one thing that men want even more than sex. And you'll uncover and stop the behaviors that you've been doing that are leading to your relationship feeling distant and frustrating. Now, of course, it takes two to tango, but if we clean up our side of the street, then he can't help but respond. So in week 2, it's all about how to feel unconditionally loved even when he pulls away. So how to get your needs met through collaboration and partnership to really implement that mindset shift that we just covered, and how to come up with those win-win solutions and experience a profound connection to unconditional love that's above and beyond what you dream possible. So you'll learn how to connect fully to self-love, no matter how your man is treating you. So you're fully resourced and fulfilled. And then what your man gives you is icing on the cake. And you'll also learn a powerful practice to shift limiting beliefs and patterns that keep you stuck, so that you'll start showing up feeling more empowered and joyful. So you can see opportunities for love and connection and intimacy that you've been missing. And your man will start showing up being more loving towards you because your outer world reflects your inner experience. So week number 3, you'll really learn how to manifest a crystal clear vision of phenomenal love. So we'll go deeper here to discover your deepest needs that might go all the way back to childhood, and the unique process for how to finally heal old wounds so you experience your needs getting met for the rest of your life. Most women never discover this and remain unsatisfied because they never discovered their most important emotional needs and how to truly meet them. Most of us know what we want, but do you know what you most deeply need? Clients have told me that this process is worth the entire price of the course. And you'll discover how to align with your man's deepest purpose and really empower who he wants to be in the world, which is another key ingredient for him seeing you as the irreplaceable only woman for him. So if your man isn't committing or isn't interested in your needs, this might be the secret ingredient to wake him up to seeing you as necessary and therefore what you desire as necessary in his life. Then we'll take all of this and create an inspiring vision of love that you can use to keep yourself and your man inspired for a lifetime. So in week number 4, you'll really learn to embody your feminine power to feel good no matter what. So you'll learn how to tap into your feminine power to attract your man to you, just like the moon attracts the tide. You'll discover how to prioritize your pleasure, so your man will feel absolutely compelled to want to please you. And you'll know how to create deep passion and intimacy with your man and receive more love and affection while doing less. So here's one of my clients, Anne, said about what she learned in this module. She said, wow, when I learn how to focus on myself and my pleasure, then he actually wants to do things that make me happier. He's happy to be of service to me without me having to ask, wanting to get me things and massage me, and he's really giving towards me. The last few weeks I was busy with work and running around, and he actually vacuumed the apartment and did laundry, and I didn't ask him to do that. I wasn't even expecting it. He even separated the laundry out and folded it. That's unusual for him. She noticed that the more she really owned her pleasure and her feminine magnetism, he stepped up and did more and more for her. So in week 5, you'll learn to confidently request your deepest desires and receive them. So we've just been talking about your desires, but how to make really specific requests in a way that's not telling him what to do, but that's really making it work for him. And I have a 5-step process to do that as well. The key ingredients to place men under your romantic spell and become completely addicted to pleasing you. My partner tells everyone, this stuff works. I know she's using it on me, but honestly, I love it and I still feel compelled to please her. And yes, he said I could say that. How to share any emotion, even anger or worry, in a way that opens his heart and draws him closer to you. And practice communicating this way with your friends and family and coworkers, and watch all your relationships transform and get way more satisfying. And how to create boundaries in a loving way so that he feels respected and then you feel safe and secure. And in week number 6, it's really about transforming your conflicts into unshakable love. So you'll put it all together and have a conversation with your man and or your loved ones if you're single about what you've been learning and how you're feeling and what you desire in a way that inspires him or inspires them. So you'll learn exactly how to set up the conversation so that he'll look forward to having it, even if he dreads the relationship conversation. Exactly what to say and what not to say so he feels love and admiration for you and what you desire. And how to respond to his possible defensiveness and what to do to melt his defenses so that he'll want to connect with you. How to negotiate to creatively find win-win solutions to your toughest issues so you can experience a lifetime of joy and love and intimacy together. One of my clients recently said about my conflict resolution process, she said, I love that Valerie doesn't teach about the perfect conflict-free relationship that some couples programs offer. She teaches how to utilize conflicts to get close. And it's not just a bunch of formulas to use, but she has a deep and wide-ranging understanding of the dynamics between people and can teach how to navigate those waters with love and honor for everyone's perspective. She understands how challenging things can feel, and she knows there's always ways to get through it and feel better. My husband and I used to argue a lot, and now our relationship is feeling better and better. So you might be wondering, how does the Manifest Lasting Love 6-week home study course work? And exactly what does it include? So once you sign up, you'll receive immediate access to all of the MP3 audio recordings and ebooks and workbooks to use at your own pace. So yes, this is the same information that I teach in my 3-month one-on-one private coaching program valued at $2,000. But because I want to make this information available to more women, I'm offering the self-paced course at a price that anyone can afford. And plus, when you sign up, you'll also receive the following bonuses. So the first class is for singles because a lot of tools in the program are for people that are in relationship. Sorry, it looks like the bottom of this slide is cut off. Because there's so much great information in it. But yeah, I mean, this is really, I could teach a whole nother separate course about this, but it's how to meet compatible men, what to do on a first date, the 2 most important qualities for you to embody to magnetize him closer, how to best navigate the first few months so that he sees you as the one, when to have sex with a man. Of course, I empower you to make that choice. When to be exclusive, how to know if he's the one for you, and what to do if you want more commitment from him. And of course, I could write a whole nother course just on that, but this gives you really powerful information to be able to navigate the first few months. Because as you can see, how to share your feelings is going to be different in the beginning of the relationship than in the rest of it. So this is a whole nother section of the course where it's about an 1.5-hour long class and a 30-page ebook that really describes what to do in the first few months that's different, and then what to do once you've agreed to be exclusive with a man. And then bonus number 2 for women in relationships is why men pull away and what to do about it. Of course, that's for single women too, because if you're dating a man, he might want space for a while or disappear for a while, because most women don't understand the true reason why men pull away. So they misunderstand him and wind up taking actions that push him farther away. This leaves us feeling powerless and insecure, right? So in this class, I explain the scientific and psychological reasons why men pull away and how to respond in a way that melts his defenses and inspires his love and devotion. So that's also both an MP3 audio class and an ebook. And for the first 10 people that register in June, I'm offering one of my colleagues' top courses. It's the Coaching from Spirit Institute's Empowered Manifestor Home Study course. So this is how to use a universal or spiritual energy to attract more prosperity, have better health, and have more harmonious relationships, which is a whole other course, which is also recorded teleclasses and ebooks. And it powerfully synergizes with what I'm teaching to have you attract what you want in your relationship and every other area of your life. And that's a $597 value that I'm including if you're one of the first 10 people that registers between now and the end of June. So how much would you expect to pay for a course that has that much value? So normally I'm selling the Manifest Lasting Love Home Study course for $197, but because I want to get this course out to as many people as possible, I decided to discount it to $97. Because so many of my clients and women in my community are getting great results and told me they wish there's a way they could easily get their girlfriend started on this journey at a no-brainer price. Because so many of their friends are unhappy in their relationships, or they keep attracting men who aren't right for them. So I figured I would offer this course as a no-brainer price so that money wouldn't be the reason that you turn it down. Plus, I'm offering a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you try this program for 30 days and you feel you're not 100% satisfied for any reason, just email me, and you can just email me at the email that you get you're going to get an intro email, welcome to the course. Just respond to that email and or any one of the emails that I send. I send out emails about once a week. So you can just email me at valerie@coachvaleriegreen.com or just respond to any of the emails from me. And I will promptly issue a refund, no questions asked, just because it's my commitment that you really are satisfied. So there's no risk for you. So here's everything that you're getting. And I'm putting it up on a slide. So because I've been doing this for over 12 years and working with thousands of people, I know a thing or two about what kinds of questions might be going through your mind. So at this point, most people wonder, okay, Valerie, I know there's a discount and I know there's no risk for me, but what I want to know is, how do I know it's going to work for me, right? Or will this course work if my husband is the one with the issue? So if your husband is the one, or your boyfriend's the one who's controlling, or if he's depressed, or if he has narcissistic tendencies, what we see is that none of these things will prevent you from gaining back the love and intimacy that you shared with him in the beginning. So once you start practicing these skills, you can get back the man you married or fell in love with. There are good qualities in him that you can learn to inspire back out. So maybe you'll have a story like Lucy, whose husband is now taking her on romantic getaways and helping her with the housework. Or maybe you'll be like my client Angela, whose boyfriend recently told her that it's conversations like the ones she learned in week 6 that are inspiring him to want to move in together. And if you're single or dating, you'll learn how to take back your own power and your own pleasure and radiate self-love so you'll know what's really right for you and how to tune into what your man needs in order to give you what you need and how to inspire the right man for you. And if he's not the right man, the tools and practices will help you be resourced enough to attract a man who is right for you. So my intention for you is that you won't even remember when the last time is that you had a fight or a cold war. You're just going to think, I feel so loved and taken care of. I can't remember the last time that we had a breakdown or that I felt lonely. No relationship is perfect, even mine. But once you learn these skills, you'll know how to reconnect, to have a conflict bring you closer instead, because you've worked through it and now your connection feels stronger than it did before. And I mean, I want to say I had a fight with my partner on Friday and we spent a few hours like arguing and not using these skills. I don't always walk my talk. But what happened is because I really do know these skills, we were able to, after an hour or so, tune into what we both needed on a deeper level, get to where it came from and where the patterns came from, and listen to each other, give each other empathy and compassion, and actually feel closer by the end of it than we did in the beginning. And now I feel even a deeper sense of love and trust for him because we went through that. So that's what I'm committed to you experiencing. And that's why I've created a step-by-step curriculum that takes people through this whole system and provides solutions and answers and strategies and tools to experience love and intimacy and passion. And as an extra bonus for the first 15 people who purchase the Manifest Lasting Love Home Study course this month, or it's the end of the month, so by the end of June, I'm offering a free one-on-one back to love strategy session with me. So what'll happen is we'll get on the phone or Skype for 90 minutes and identify what might be holding you back from having the relationship of your dreams. And you'll leave with a plan for how to get there, which will be how to really customize the course for you. So these sessions are valued at $150, and I'm offering them for free to all of you for showing up for the first 15 people who purchase the course between now and the end of June, because I only have 15 open calendar slots per month. So I invite you to purchase the course, and then you can just reply to the welcome email to request your free strategy session. And if you're one of the first 15 people, then we can talk in June. And registration is easy. All you have to do is click the link at the bottom right of your slide. And if you're watching the YouTube replay, then it is in the comments. And go to the page that has the payment button on it. So I'd like you to think about, what is the struggle costing you? What's it costing you for your relationship to feel disconnected or not feel loved? Just go ahead and write that down. Is it costing you joy? How about your health? When we feel disconnected or lonely, it actually lowers our immunity. And what about money? What's it costing you to be in a relationship that feels unloving? Are you doing retail therapy, or maybe you're spending it on therapy, which is not bad, but this program is just more fun and it's a more inexpensive way to feel connected to your man. And we all know the cost of divorce, and that's where most struggling couples end up. And if you are dating and not married, then think about what kind of, financial gain you would have by having two incomes in one household. I'm not saying that you would choose to get married for money, of course, but it's part of what it's costing you to stay single and having, your own two separate living situations and two separate everything instead of really sharing a life together. So that's why the Manifest Lasting Love 6-week home study course is a no-brainer, because it can really lead to your relationship transforming. So the way I see it, you have a choice. You can keep on going with the status quo. And so that means that the rest of the year will look pretty much a lot like it has been going so far, with you still struggling. But I don't think you'd be here right now if you were okay with that. Or you can stumble along reading relationship blogs and come to more of my free trainings. Or this year, you can invest in a comprehensive and proven system led by a relationship expert that's helped thousands of people to guide you in your journey of making your relationship passionate and connected. And because the course is all online, you can access it anytime you want to and listen to the audios while you're cleaning or commuting, which is the way I usually listen to courses. So I would just like you to think for a minute, what's a loving, passionate relationship worth to you? Let's just imagine 10 years from now. Are you going to be okay with the way things are now? Or are you going to take action to create the relationship you desire? If you're in a relationship, then you fell in love with the man for a reason. And those qualities are still in him. You can re-inspire the intimacy and bring back his desire to adore you. and no amount of money is too much for that. You have immediate access to all the modules as soon as you sign up, so you can start enjoying deeper intimacy and connection right now. So click the link at the bottom right to transform your love life. And of course, I'm going to raffle off the course in just a second. So first of all, I want to thank you for attending the webinar, because it's my deepest privilege I get to do what I love, and it's because of you that I get that privilege. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Okay, so now it's time to raffle off a copy of the course. So what I'm going to do, I did this a month ago, and I want everyone to understand what I mean. I want to be clear about how I express myself. So what I'm going to do is, there's 9 people, so I'm going to think of a number between 1 and 9, and you don't have to say the number, but what I want you to do is just to type your name in the chat box. And I'm going to think of a number between 1 and 9. And so go ahead and type your name into the chat box right now. And if you're the nth person to type your name into the chat box, then you win the raffle. Hopefully that makes sense. So I will just wait until people start typing their names. There is a 30-second delay. So while you do that, I will take the handout offer away, and I'm going to put up the offer for the course. So I see people typing their names, and I'll let you keep doing that. All right. So here's the offer for the course. I'm just going to load that up. Now you'll see that at the bottom right. But right now, of course, I'm going to look at the chat and see who's typing their names in. Only 4 people typed their names in so far, so we'll keep going. But that's okay. We have time, because I'm going to share the that communication hack. Since you stayed until the end, that's the last thing we'll do before Q&A. Is I'm going to share that communication hack that can really transform conflict into intimacy, because it's another mindset that really helps when he's, being defensive, or when he's doing something that you think is really clueless or mean. And obviously there's a way to create boundaries if you think he's being mean. So far, only 4 people typed their names, and interesting. Maybe more people don't want the course. All right. Well, then I'll have to sort of come up with another number. But I will share the positive, the mindset hack first, and then we'll come back to the raffle, because that'll only take a couple minutes. So this communication hack is to ask yourself, what is his positive intention? So another way of saying this is, he's doing what he's doing because it's meeting a legitimate need. So remember that handout that you got with the needs and desires on the second sheet. The mindset here is that everything we do is to meet one of these needs. So for example, when he's criticizing you, you talk too much, or you used to have more time for us, you can recognize that there's a positive intention underneath. So if he's saying you talk too much, he wants to experience peace and quiet. If he says, you used to have more time for me, then he wants to experience more quality connection with you. If you get curious about what his positive intention is, then you'll feel less judged, and then you can collaborate on solutions. So this doesn't mean that we just have to take criticism, but if you defend yourself or criticize back, it leads to arguments. So in the home study course, you'll learn how to make requests for something different. I've found that in most love relationships, people don't go around with malintent. They're just reacting to feeling hurt, right? Like when you, and we all do it, I still criticize my partner sometimes. It's because I feel hurt. I'm just reacting to feeling hurt. So now you might be thinking, well, sometimes my partner does things just to hurt me. And that might be true. And I know what it's like to feel hurt by the one you love, and I don't want you to feel that way. So let's look more deeply to discover the positive intention. So pause for a moment and consider. Everyone's done something hurtful in a romantic relationship, right? Maybe we called them a name, slammed the door in their face, or broke something of theirs. And why did we do that? Because we were reacting to feeling hurt by them, right? Like tit for tat. Very mature, I know. And like I said, I still do that sometimes too. Now, if you go around doing that, you're going to hurt your relationship, no doubt. I'm not saying it's good to hurt each other. You're probably here because you're ready to learn to do something different when you're hurt. But let's look for a minute at the positive intention. The part of you that wanted to hurt him, what did that part of you want to make him feel? Perhaps you wanted him to feel how much he hurt you. I know it's a twisted way of feeling intimacy and connection because now at least you're both feeling the same pain. And to take it a step further, you probably wanted him to get into your world, to see things from your point of view, so that you could live more harmoniously. So I want to take a stand for you that you can experience your positive intentions from the get-go, so you never have to disguise them in hurtful behavior. Imagine if when you and your partner start arguing, you could stop and recognize the positive intention underneath your upset, like you did in the exercise. So how much more connected and loving would you feel then? So another way of saying this is that anything that's not love is a misunderstanding. Usually when we're upset, it's because we think our partner doesn't care or is trying to hurt us. So once we realize their positive intention for doing or being a certain way, then you can work through it instead of thinking that the other person doesn't care. Much of his behavior will make more sense to you when you learn what men need, because most men's actions are motivated by different positive intentions than most women's actions. And when you learn to see his positive intention, you can appreciate where he's coming from. And you'll learn men's top needs in the home study course too. So right now you can ask yourself, what's one action that your man does that you have a challenge finding the positive intention for? So you can look at the list of needs and guess which positive need he's meeting by doing this action. And if this is challenging, just take a guess and you'll get better with practice. So, okay, we are going to do the raffle now. And the number I had was 5, which is why I couldn't do the raffle with just 4. And it looks like Holly is the 5th responder. So Holly, you said you have a different number in mind, but you are the winner of the course. So what I would like you to do is, woohoo, just go ahead and email me at valerie@coachvaleriegreen.com. That she wanted to be number 8. Oh, that's sweet. I suppose you like the number 8, which is fine. All right, I'm going to stop screen sharing now and open it up for questions. And I do want to just let you know that the rest of you that wanted to get the course, that I'm happy to answer your questions about it to see if it's the right thing for you. And of course, if you decide to purchase it and then decide it's not the right thing for you, then I'll give you your money back. So there's really no risk. And the link for that is, there should be an offer on the bottom right. And if you just click it, there's a button that says learn more. And that's coachvaleriegreen.com/ignite. So you can learn more on that page. And now I am just happy to answer your questions. So let me. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yes, I'm happy to now spend the rest of the time answering your questions. I'm happy to give you another 30 minutes if people have questions. And so you can ask me a question about anything about relationships. Whether you're single and dating and you want to know how to attract the right men, or how to know if someone's right for you, or how to get men to notice you, or how to get him to want to give you more attention or be more romantic, or if you're with a man and it's not what it used to be. I'm happy to hear your situation, and we only see each other's first names. If you want, I don't have to even share your first name, on the camera. You can just say, don't share my first name, but here's my issue. People on the YouTube replay won't be able to see your name. And if you're married, you can just share what your problem is and ask a question like, how to create boundaries, or how to discover what it is that he's wanting, if he's, being critical or demanding to you or controlling to you. So I'll just go ahead and answer those kinds of questions because I get those questions a lot from women. So I'll go ahead and answer some of the questions I get from women often and start talking about that. And then if you're so inspired, you can ask your own question. So I see that let me see. I'm seeing this on another computer as well because I can see more. There's still 9 people in the room. So, and thank you for staying thus far. I just appreciate you giving me your time because your time is really valuable. And I just feel honored that you are here and that you care about making a difference in your relationship. So, making sure I can see the chat. Great. So a lot of women ask me, I just wrote a blog post about this actually, and people gave me good feedback about, like, let's say you share your feelings or desires and he acts defensive or critical in response. Like, let's say he says, because I've gotten this before, well, I don't want to give you that, or you shouldn't want that, or something else that's belligerent. And so, it's hard to just be curious about what's going on for him if you feel attacked, right? So it's not like you're supposed to be a saint and take behavior that's like attacking. You could also create a boundary. But likewise, creating a boundary is not telling him what to do or not to do. That's actually trying to control him. Creating a boundary is saying what you will or will not be around, right? Like, he can be talking like that, but you're not willing to be in the room when he is. That's really powerful because you're not trying to control him or tell him what to do. But if he's saying, you don't deserve that, or I shouldn't give you that, then, if you are able to be curious about, like, tell me what you think that you should give me, or why do you feel that way, or whatever, that's great, because a lot of times people don't mean what they say and you can get underneath what his needs are. But if you can't do that, then you can create a boundary. Then you can say, ouch, I have the right to determine what I, want. And I don't want to be around you if you're going to tell me what I shouldn't want. So, you can keep telling me what I don't want you to have, what you don't want me to have. But in that case, I don't want to participate in this conversation. I'm only interested in participating if we're really being positive and talking about what we both want. So I'm curious, what do you want? That's underneath why you said that, so, and if he starts complaining more, you can be like, I want to hear what you're saying. I care about you, but I'm only interested in having a productive conversation. So if you're going to continue to be like this, that's fine, but I'm going to leave and I'll come back later when we can both talk about what we want. So that's what it's like to create a boundary where you're not telling him what to do. And you are noticing, you are giving him reassurance that you want to talk to him, you want to hear him, you want to solve this. but you're not going to stand for whatever words he's saying or way he's being that is making you feel hurt. And I do use the words making you feel. On one level, obviously, no one can make us feel anything, right? Like, it's the stimulus that is bringing up feelings that we already have. On another level, when you're in a romantic relationship with each other, your nervous systems are connected. If he's saying, if you're really in a connected romantic relationship and he's saying, well, you don't deserve that, or something mean to you, of course you're going to feel hurt. It would take you being really enlightened in order to not feel hurt. Now, that doesn't mean you have to react out of being hurt, but the really vulnerable thing to say when you feel hurt is, ouch. That's not telling him what to do. It's just letting him know how you're being impacted. And a lot of times then, he doesn't feel like he has anything to fight against. So if he's really mad, then he might be like, you're too sensitive, or whatever it is that he's saying that's critical. But, you don't have to stand for that either. You can say, I'm not too sensitive. I'm me, and I want you to accept me. I want to accept you. It always goes both ways. What are you needing right now from me? And you can be curious, or if you can't be curious because you're too hurt, then you can say, I either need you to be supportive of me, or I can't be in this conversation. So that's basically how to create a boundary. So does anyone have questions about that? I'll just keep talking about questions that people usually ask me. And then perhaps people will be inspired to ask a specific question. I do have a note of questions that people usually ask me. Let me see if I can find it. One question I get a lot that I haven't answered in a webinar yet is, what do you do in a long-term relationship when the passion is gone? I have a lot of things to say about that. So one thing that tends to happen in a long-term relationship is that we don't prioritize quality time for each other because we get too busy with other things. So I recommend that couples really make time to go out on dates. I know it's something that most relationship, teachers say, but it's easy to let that go by the wayside. I mean, me and my partner had a conversation about this recently. I was saying, I really need to still feel like I'm swept off my feet, even though we're in a committed relationship. And he got it. And we talked about what that would look like. And he's been showing up that way more and planning dates more than he did before. Because sometimes we get in a romantic rut. And it's important to be able to speak about it in a way that's inspiring. So that's the first thing. The second thing actually is, the agreement that we came up with. I know this seems funny, but I'm a coach, and so obviously I do some coachy things in my relationship. But what I recommend to couples is that they actually create a weekly meeting where you talk about logistical stuff. We do it every one time on the weekend. We put it on our schedules as a recurring appointment of when we talk about the logistical stuff. Like shared expenses and how we're going to order food together, and also planning specific events that we're going to do together, all the logistical stuff. Because otherwise what happens is that when we live with someone and share all the logistical things in our life, then the relationship can become about the business of managing a household, and it stops feeling romantic. And so if you're able to put all that stuff in a weekly meeting, we actually call it our secretary meeting, and we kind of get playful with it. And sometimes I dress up like a secretary. But that way you keep all the logistical stuff in that time boundary, and then that you can talk about it then. then the rest of your time can still be fun and playful and, emotionally connected. And you're not calling just to talk about who's going to pick the kids up from school or what you're going to have for dinner. It's like you plan that stuff out on a regular basis. It has a boundary, and then the rest of your time can feel more connected. So we agreed to speak about like how swept off my feet I'm feeling at each one of those meetings. And I could share how I feel about that. And, then he gets to respond in kind by stepping it up or whatever he wants to do. There's another thing. This is something that one of my favorite teachers, Esther Perel, talks about, is that in a long-term relationship, couples can actually get too merged, where if you don't have separate lives, if you are really you're feeling like you spend too much time together, or if you share everything with each other. I'm not saying you should have secrets from your partner, but if it gets too kind of mundane with the sharing and there's not like special time for you to feel like you have your own friends and your own hobbies and your own passions, and then you come together to share it, if there's not enough separateness, then there needs to be separateness in order to feel the desire to come together. So a lot of times I'll encourage people to develop passions and hobbies outside the relationship, so that there's a part of you that you're not sharing with them. Not that you're hiding it from them, but you're not doing it with them, or having it be something that makes you feel too merged. That's another dynamic that happens. And yet another one is a loss of polarity. So what I mean by polarity is that we all have masculine and feminine energy inside of us. So as women, we have masculine and feminine energy. Masculine energy is that directive force that likes to plan and organize and do things logistically and create solutions and provide and give and solve problems, and create a direction, right? We all have that part of us. And feminine energy is receptive. It is intuitive. It's about feelings. It's about being in tune with the body and going with the flow, and the spiritual practice of surrender and allowing and accepting what is, and unfolding, and just sharing our feelings and desires in a way where we're not attached to the direction. That's feminine energy, and all of us have that within us. And so what happens when in long-term relationships is that a lot of times, and it's totally understandable, because as women, we have jobs, and we're really, like right now, I'm in my masculine because I'm trying to convey an idea, right? So we have to get things accomplished. And if we're moms, then being a mom actually involves organizing a lot of logistics for kids, which is masculine energy. We don't have a lot of time to be in our feminine, to really nurture ourselves, to make enough time for self-care, to prioritize our own pleasure and things that feel good, and to be able to just share our feelings. And so a lot of what I taught you tonight was how to communicate with your man from a feminine place rather than telling him what to do. A lot of times in long-term relationships, where they are equal, women will be more in the masculine role, and then it just decreases the polarity. And he doesn't have the chance to kind of step up and take the lead. And that's why it's so important to not tell a man what to do, but to share our feelings and desires in a way that's collaborative, because that allows him to step up and solve the problem or come up with the solution, or, and if we appreciate the way he's doing things, then he gets to feel like, oh, I can make her happy. I'm inspired to do more. That actually creates more polarity, where he gets to do more and you get to receive more, and be receptive and appreciative of what he's doing. And of course, share your desire for something different too. It's not just about accepting what he's doing. But a lot of times the polarity decreases in a long-term relationship. And that's why I teach women how to be more in their feminine. And when they start showing up that way, then he's more inspired to start stepping up and doing more. So I see that happen a lot. And of course, everyone has a unique situation. And so what I do when I work with women is I help them to tap into their unique feelings and desires and to get perspective on what your unique feelings and desires are. And I'm really good at kind of channeling what's going on for the man, even when I work with women and the man's not working with me too, and how to see things from his point of view and how to speak to him in a way that's going to inspire him rather than push him away. So I am really grateful for that gift that I have in order to be able to tune into people that way. So I'm sorry that I'm not getting to answer any of your unique questions now, but I love being able to just sit here with you. And let's see. There's still 9 people here. I just love that you're still here. Let me see if I have any other questions. Yeah, another question that I haven't answered is one woman asked me a while ago, how do I get my boyfriend to initiate sex more? So a lot of it is being in this feminine polarity and kind of being playful and, because men are so sensitive around sex, it's hard, he's not going to hear it well if you say you're not having enough. And you can't be kind of serious about it and say, I need more sex because that's not sexy, right? But I found that if a lot of times what's going on if men don't want to have sex is that they actually feel resentful about something, and that kind of kills the polarity. I mean, that kills his desire. So to find out what needs he's not getting met, and so that he feels more respected and more seen, and to come up with those collaborative solutions, a lot of times that makes him want to initiate sex more. If not, and you're not merged like we talked about before, and of course there could be something going on with him, like a hormonal issue or some kind of insecurity that he has. But I find that in a similar way, if we really just share about our desires, and I find that it's especially important when you're asking for what you want to do it in a way that's honoring like when you have been satisfied, because then he's not going to hear that he's doing it wrong. So if you say something like, let's say you haven't had sex in a while, and for you to be like, wow, the last time we had sex, I just felt so satisfied and so adored and so loved, and I'm just desiring that more often, and how could we make the time for that? So you're acknowledging him for something he already did. I find that's a really good way to bring it up rather than telling him what he hasn't been doing. And that's the beginning of the conversation, at least. And a lot of times it's really about experimenting with what turns you on and kind of inviting him into it. So if you have a really fun self-pleasuring practice and you know how to turn yourself on, and then you get around him and you start being playful and you start, getting curious about what he would desire when you're in that playful state, that's really approaching sexuality from being in your feminine. And then if he doesn't join you, you can just be like, okay, well, I'm going to pleasure myself. You don't have to join me. And of course, there's deeper places to go to from there that we can explore in one-on-one coaching. So it has been 2 hours, and I am happy to answer anyone else's questions. So last call. I'd say you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, but I imagine you're already home. So that's the good thing about webinars. Okay, that wasn't funny. So anyway, I'm happy to be here with you all, and there's 8 people now, and I'm just so touched that you've spent your last couple hours with me. I encourage you to try out the course because it's no risk to you, and I'm just looking to inspire as many women as possible that true love is possible. And I'm just so touched and honored and grateful that you shared your time with me. So, like I said, it's really my honor and privilege to do what I do, and it's because of you that I get to do that. So, I'm just so grateful to all of you, and feel free to email me at Valerie, Valerie, at coachvaleriegreen.com. CoachValerieGreen.com, and ask me any questions and continue the conversation. And I just, webinars are great, but I can't see you and hear you, and maybe you have a unique question that you don't want to say in front of a group of other people. That's fine. You're welcome to reach out to me and ask a question, and you can apply for a free one-on-one conversation with me over Skype or Zoom, where I would get to see you face to face and we can talk real time. So I would love the opportunity to do that because I love connecting with people and seeing how I can serve you. So, to be continued. Mwah. Sending you lots of love and bid you good night or good day.